Hi, good afternoon everyone. And today, I'm going to present about fauvism. What is fauvism? Origin or historical background of fauvism. Art that use fauvism, its meaning and techniques that are being used on the same art. Famous person behind fauvism. And that's what fauvism contributed to the modern art techniques. So, what is fauvism? Fauvism is one of the earliest avant-garde art movements and greatly influenced German expressionism and known for its bold colors and techniques. These movements centered on the expression of feelings through intense color. The name Les Popes or the Wild Beast, a style of painting that uses bright colors and in which objects and people are represented in a non-realistic way. Origins of fauvism. The beginning, inspiration of fauvism. Symbolist artists Gustave Moreau, Claude Matisse, and other French painters like George Rouard and Albert Merkel at Paris School of Fine Arts. His deep appreciation for pure color and unconventional approach to art inspired Matisse and his peers to experiment with their own palettes and painting techniques. Fauvism is a movement co-founded by French artists Henri Matisse and André Derain. The style of Les Popes or the Wild Beast is characterized by saturated color palette, thick brushstroke, and simplified, often nearly abstracted forms. The pose produce bright cheery landscapes and figure paintings characterized by pure vivid color and bold distinctive brushwork. Henri Matisse, who was considered the leader of Les Popes, rejected the traditional renditions of three-dimensional space promoted by the expressionism before him. Instead discovered a new way to portray it with image, layer, and color movements. He developed the style after experimenting with various post-impressionistic approaches shown by Paul Gauguin and Vincent van Gogh, as well as neo-impressionistic techniques shown by George Seurat. André Derain, who attended school with Matisse in 1898 in 1899. Maurice de Blamic, who was Derain's friend, shared Matisse's interest in the expressive nature of colors. Blamic further embraced Pope's style after seeing Van Gogh works at the Salon des Indépendants in the spring of 1905 in Collioure. First exhibition, the 1905 Salon d'Automne. Matisse, Derain, and Blamic exhibited together later in 1905 at the annual Salon d'Automne. Derain's Fauvist paintings translated every tone of a landscape into pure color, which he applied with short, forceful brushstrokes. The agitated spheres of intense color in Blamic's works were heavily inspired by the expressive power of Vincent van Gogh. Art critic Louis Bagseles was one of the attendees to the exhibition, and it was him who coined the movement's term as it is known today. Les Popes, meaning wild beast, due to the expressive and, according to him, violent nature of the paintings. Some of the paintings exhibited by the Popes during the Salon d'Automne are pictures here on museum, such as Matisse's Women with a Hat and Derain's The Dreincers. Post-Fauvism. Fauvism became a stepping stone for future developments in their style. So Fauvism play a huge role modern art that we have right now. By 1908, most of the main artists in the group had moved away from the expressive nature of Fauvism. Artists that used during the Fauvism was a trend eventually stopped using it and seek or upgrade their work much newer style. One of Fauvism founders, André Derain, adopted a more conventional neoclassical styles seen in his work, titled The Table. George Braque went on to develop Cubism with Pablo Picasso. Henri Matisse continued to use the distinctive Fauvist traits of bright emotive colors with simpler shapes and more symbolist approach through his career. Characteristics of Fauvism. The characteristic most prominently associated with Fauvism is a bright and bold use of color. Though the scene is based in a natural setting, Matisse forewent neutral tones for a kaleidoscopic color scheme, in addition to orange trees, blue grass, and a pale pink sky. He also rendered the figures in a rainbow of hues. Wild Brushwork by Maurice de Blaminique. The Fauves adopted three painterly brushstrokes dominated their paintings. What set the Fauves' approach apart, however, is the preparation of the paint itself. Rather than apply their oils from a palette, Fauves would often squeeze tubes of paint directly onto the canvas. Similarly, instead of mixing pigments, they would suggest new colors through the use of small adjacent strokes. Simplified forms by Andre Derain. The Fauves experimented with abstraction rather than render forms as they appear in real life. They preferred painting them as simplified shapes, similarly like the post-impressionist pioneer. They played with perspective and skew the picture plane, resulting in flat compositions that emphasize color and brushwork over spatial depth. And other forms, use of color for its own sake as a viable end in art. Rend surface texture with awareness of the paint. Spontaneity, lines drawn on canvas and suggested by texture of paint. Use of classing or primary colors, playing with values and intensities. Varied subject matter, picking out elements of genre, sense, landscape, inside, studios, etc. The color and the object painted was the real subject, whether still life, landscape, etc. The three famous Fauvist painters, Henri Matisse, Andre Derain, Maurice de Blaminique. Henri Matisse was revolutionary and influential artist in the early 20th century, best known for the expressive color and form of his Fauvist style. Andre Derain, French painter, sculptor, printmaker, and designer, who was one of the principal Fauvists. Maurice de Blaminique was a French painter, best known for his vividly hued landscape. Examples of Fauvism: Bridge over the Rio by Andre Derain. This landscape shortly after he and Henri Matisse visited Collioure, a small port town in southern France. Derain wanted to create images that would belong to all time, as well as to his own period. Derain stated it's very difficult to possess a landscape, but it's easier to create a harmonious shape, creating through those affections one has felt in the physical world. Under the Bridge at Beson, or Under the Bridge at Chateau, by Maurice de Blaminique. This landscape painting represents a view from the riverbanks looking toward a bridge at Beson, between Chateau and Argentine. Blaminique combines natural elements with the man-made monument, which seems to merge with the houses on the opposite sides of the river. Man-made elements of the compositions are described in long brushstrokes or solid areas of color. And natural elements, the water, riverbank, and sky come together in a collection of shirts. Staccato flashes of pigments reminiscent of Quintilis. Hermeneutics, Women with the Hat, depicts Henry's wife, Amélie. This piece of art was created by Henry in 1905, and it is known for the use of non-natural colors and form for depiction of women's face. This artwork represented the new ways of coloring. Initially, this painting was considered offensive by critics when it was displayed in Paris in 1905. The painting was criticized for usage of 44 non-natural colors to depict women's face that gave it a mask-like appearance. The painting is currently being exhibited at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. It is a characteristic of Matisse's Fauvist style. It depicts a half-length portrait of his wife, Amélie, in vivid and natural colors and raw, fluid brushstrokes. Women with the hat are line, shape, color, and texture. In addition, the lines, as well as the shapes, are blurred and organic. The shapes of the painting are very circular. Their rounded nature emphasizes the humanity and softness of the women. Bright and vibrant reds and yellows, such as the reds near the bottom of the painting or in the women's hat and hair, are toned down by the more subtle peaches, pinks, and greens found in the background. One of fauvism's major contributions to modern art was its radical goal of separating color from its descriptive, representational purpose and allowing it to exist on the canvas as an independent element. In this regard, fauvism proved to be important precursor to cubism and expressionism, as well as touchstone for future modes of abstraction. Fauvism valued individual expression. The artist's direct experience of these subjects, his emotional response to nature, and his intuition were all the more important than academic theory or elevated subject matter. All elements of painting were employed in service of this goal. Fauvists were able to incorporate all ideas from great artists to create a new era in modern art. The main intention in fauvism is to bring emotion through strong effect and bold treatment of colors. The liberated and intensified approach of color, which reduces the detail to subject matter. Fauvism gives an important value to individual expression. The artist's direct experience with his subjects, his emotional response to nature, and his intuition were the most important aspect of the technique. And for this reason, all the elements of the painting were used to achieve this goal.